Hey, thank you for joining me online here, especially those of you educators and parents and concerned citizens. Thank you, thank you. I tucked myself away here in a school for a few minutes to give this presentation. And this is the final segment to kind of recap. And you'd asked me to answer some questions about the effectiveness of family play as an educational intervention. How does fam play, and specifically here, play-based parenting, work? So let me recap on where we are. And again, we're at the kickoff of 2013 here, and we're planning some of our events and reflecting on 2012. So I think some of the most important events were the online events hosted by local families. Right? The idea is you can go on to famplay.com, onto your specific community or your school or your course room class. Again, that's where we have most of you are logging on. You see 25 or 100 other families in your local neighborhood, and those online events to promote that. We record the video. That way, there's a personal connection there. Again, and the message being, turn off the computer and play with your children. And hey, I'm somebody here in the community that's doing this. So, and again, my favorite one today, or that I've heard recently, is the school homework that was transformed into family dinner nights. So every week, the homework at the school is for the family to prepare and eat dinner together. I mean, that just sounds like a wonderful fam play inspired activity. And again, we're excited here in 2013 for our new instructors and courses. Again, let's get to the business here. What is it about play-based parenting that's so effective? And I told the story, the plight of the play-based parents. Now, I remind people of this because we are a group of earnest adults who design educational play and projects. Really, the play-based parenting is enjoyable, but we are excited. We're really focused on the growth of the whole child as defined by the parent. We look at whole family dynamics and the social transactions over time that encourage learning with the whole world in mind. So we're learning to develop the individual into society. Now, I told a short story about the 2 hours to change a doorknob, which is an example of a family project. And again, whenever we do anything with a family and our children, we're going to begin to appreciate and experience and slow bureaucracies throughout the world. We understand better systems by understanding individual parts of a system. Here, simply changing a doorknob. Look, that's an entryway to our house that's frequently used, but it matters in the whole world. Now, let's not be foolish. It didn't take me 2 hours to change the doorknob with 3 kids. It took me 2 weeks. And that's what kind of a rule of thumb here. If you're going to try out a new game or anything like this, try it for 2 weeks or let something happen for 2 weeks and then put some restraints on it. But 2 weeks is a good measure of this. And let's not be foolish. Anything that's a serious family activity or family learning is going to take 2 weeks. Okay, let's not be that foolish. It's going to take 2 months, especially if it's for a project, because it occurs over time. And with the doorknob, it's already taken me 6 weeks here, but I'm not going to be foolish enough to think it's over. Look, it started to break. We took many trips to the hardware store. We fixed it one time. We think we fixed it now. It looks terrific, top notch, but check back with me in a few weeks. But that's the story of the simple family project, something that matters in the real world. Our part of our family can do it, our whole family could, our part of our family does the project, it matters to them, and the whole child understands something about how he fits into the whole world. So, at this point, we have a specific example, but what happens here is to focus our attention is we have to ask, what is everything that is not Common Core as a parent? So Common Core is what's taught in schools, and I gave the little quiz to the educators in the room. It's basically mathematical reasoning. So to give some examples, there's lots and lots of things, but well, specific 10 standards here, but understanding ratios and proportional relationships. And I want to stress the part about the active creative engagement. We have to have kids that not only understand this stuff, they have to be able to build equations, models, and functions. The other part of these Common Core, so you have your mathematical reasoning side. The other is the literacy in the science and the humanities. So you have to be able to read and interpret what happens in English class and anthropology, but also in physics and biology. It's the reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills. I also stress literacy in media, and it's disciplinary understanding that prepares kids for the challenge of college. Again, almost every freshman enters college and it feels unprepared and fails a little bit. But again, we're preparing kids. We're getting that academic rigor so they are career ready as well. So what happens when we ask what is not Common Core, we start to feel like we spiral. There's too much here. Just fixing a simple doorknob and cooking dinner and blah, blah, we spin. That's life, right? That's life. So mental health, physical health, financial management are some of the serious issues faced by many of our families today. And then vocational education, liberal arts, handwork, or arts and crafts, or music, and then family life are lots of things not included in Common Core. So we as play-based parents step up and make sure that we design educational play and projects to meet these needs. Now, I don't want to get too educational policy or one school versus another or school versus home here. Look, part of what play-based parents are doing are supporting the Common Core, this academic skills learned in school. But the other part is we are really concerned about everything else in life that the children are learning. So not to spin too much out of control, because what we do know about play-based parenting, and this question, I'm kind of jumped off the building and fallen into a free spinning fall with you, is why is it that play-based parenting works? What is it about the intervention that really works? And let's look at specifically, play-based parenting is a curriculum to create stronger family bonds. Okay, so we develop stronger family bonds through play and projects. Now, at the same time, what the schools are really liking us for is that these stronger family bonds also make it stronger bonds between the family and the school. Now, that's two improvements there, right? Stronger family bonds, stronger bonds between family, that's parents and kids, and the school. And then I would even push it, what we want is the community as well and the world in mind. But we're really looking right here at the stronger family bonds that are developed through play and projects. What is it? I think the first thing that was so effective, as we've done this throughout the last years, is the simple light that goes off for parents to understand that 15 minutes every day, I can at least do two things. Something playful and enjoy my time with my kids, right? Because once you start getting the idea you got to take 10 or 15 minutes, that turns into 20 or 25 minutes. But it's that first step of understanding that 15 minutes of play. The other part is the educational time that so many people are realizing, oh yes, it takes concerted effort for me to unplug from my busy life and spend attention, 15 minutes with my child. And I think that's one of the most powerful parts, and especially when it's used by many of you in your communities, because as more and more parents are doing this for homework, they understand the value and the importance of the time of child and adult. And again, we're very loose about what we call as a play-based parent. I mean, as grandparent, aunt, uncle, the people the child considers family need to spend 15 minutes a day. And again, we're very loose or open about what we mean by play at this point. But for those of you that have become play-based parents over the last year and you'll understand some more about why is it that play-based parenting is effective at building stronger family bonds and supporting these academics. First, because parents observe lifelong learning all day. The question, when does learning happen, turns our attention to everything that happens throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, throughout the child and adolescent development into the world. And we get tuned our attention to it. Now, preparing and eating dinner as a family is, again, many of the communities, this is something that comes up oftentimes in the first month. We understand how important and valuable that is to our whole of our being. It's our health. We learn many other things too, but it's how we engage in our family dynamics simply by preparing meals together and eating them. So the second real powerful part here, this looks familiar to many of you, right? Play-based parents are able to support risk with responsibility. Many other character development programs focus on responsibility. And I think what many of you are finding is the risk. The risk captures the excitement and the nervousness and the anxiety and so many other emotions with the character development as with responsibility. I mean, we're not saying irresponsible risk. We are saying risk with responsibility. And how do we do this most importantly? And again, this is so tough for people to understand when you're comparing programs here, and especially of a character development part. Look, we're not giving you a thing to do. Hey, on Tuesday afternoon, you're going to ask these 3 questions about risk and response. No, no, no. The fam play approach, and I think why it's so important here to stress this part about supporting risk and responsibility, the effectiveness, is it captures the teachable moments. So every play-based parent has to understand we answer questions when the kids ask. And the very difficult part, right, is many people don't have a relationship where kids even ask the questions. So building that foundational block is where we are at with this play for 15 minutes a day. But why is that so essential for years? Because at some point, and again, throughout those years, kids ask questions, but at some point, the most serious questions are going to be asked by the kids, and we have to be there to answer them. Again, many of you have talked from age 12 and into adolescence, we really as parents start to look at the support network of our mentors and our extended peers, so we answer the kids' questions when they ask. How do we do this? Part of it is we establish common lines of communication. And the Anarchy to Democracy class is one of you who've commented on what you noticed, what it did to you. And I laugh now that I realize this is many of you pointed out the essential part of the communications. Yes, communications, especially if you're going to function as a democracy, is essential. Now, I don't have an answer for you of the best communication system. I mean, I don't have the latest here. Here's an app. You're automatically going to be able to communicate with your 8-year-old and your 14-year-old. No. Anarchy to Democracy walks you through these simple steps of experiencing anarchy and monarchy and democracy so that you understand why you build these common lines of communication. Okay, finally, why is play-based parenting effective? And again, this observe support model is familiar to many of you that are familiar with the family play approach. But and again, why is it effective? I think this is what we've realized over the years. The idea, we've all heard of role models, but actually becoming the role model and being that throughout the day, and especially for kids in many roles, is the way we model virtues of life and also learning. If we want our children to actively engage in their lives and in learning so they become successful in life, we need to engage in the family play approaches. We engage in this play and projects as a family or as father and son or as a group of us. But what we're doing in all these different sorts of activities is we're modeling virtues of life and learning. I think the lesson learned and from the sports, what we learned with many of the, speaking specifically to a couple of, so what happens on an athletic field is virtues on an athletic field. Now, it's not that they don't ever transfer to life, but there's still virtues on the athletic field. The virtues of life are possibly related, slightly different, but the point here is that, yes, we understand we're a role model when we step onto the field to coach a child and show them how to kick a ball or something. That's a very clear ideal of model. But more importantly, we follow the child and we lead the world. So we find our character strengths and our virtues and we lead the world with them. How do we do this? Because mainly we unplug and play. These family activities and our activities at FamPlay show parents a 15-minute reflection, maybe a 5-minute reflection, to get us to unplug the computer and unplug from our busy lives to play with our family. And finally, thank you all of you that did the homework project in 2012. What we did for a few years in a row now in many classes around the world, we have transformed homework into family play. So if your school is interested in taking a 3-month project and doing something different for homework, What we can offer you is play-based parenting. You can create these videos yourself